Where my next guest, Damien Vazquez, takes on Brandon Fugueroa this Saturday night for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. Damien, what's happening?
Nothing much, just here, quarantining in the bubble.
How's that experience been? The first couple days you've been there.
I mean, it's been cool, I ain't had no problem with it. It ain't stressing me out. I tell people, same thing I'm doing here, same thing I would have been doing at home.
Do you have to did you have to kind of maybe be a couple pounds or maybe even lighter than you normally would before you would leave for a fight because of what you may or may not be able to do in terms of getting those last couple pounds out during fight week?
Oh no, I mean, my weight, I've come at my weight the same way I've always have for every single fight.
Gotcha. So we're a few days away. I mean, obviously, you dreamt about this as a kid, fighting for a world championship, fighting on pay-per-view. It's all going to come together on Saturday night. What are your thoughts? We're about 3 days out.
I'm honestly excited. I'm very excited, for this fight, because it's a life-changing fight, and I don't got nothing to lose for this fight, so I'm going in there with everything I got.
Talk about Brandon Figueroa. What can you tell? What's the scouting report in terms of what does Damien Vazquez think of Brandon Figueroa?
He's a Mexican fighter, and I want to make it an all-out Mexican war.
He's looked pretty good in his last couple outings. Is that the way you scouted him?
Yes and no.
You want to expound on that, or?
Oh yeah, I just watched some of his fights. When he first turned pro, watched some of his, most recently fights, and I just went from there.
Obviously, but if we would be having this conversation a year ago, you were coming off a loss and a draw, and I said in about a year you're going to be fighting for the world title. What would you have thought if I had said that to you?
I probably would have believed you, to be
Okay.
honest. Knowing the work that I put in and such like that.
Did you think when you were going through that little rough period that it maybe was a little bit further away than it actually came to be?
Well, yeah, actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did think it'd be a little bit further away, but I knew I would have hit it sooner or later.
15 1-1. Talk about turning pro. You're at 17 Saturday night, be your 18th fight. Do you feel was there a fight or certain fights where you said to yourself, I think I'm ready to fight for a world title?
Oh yeah, there were certain fights like that, but like I knew that once I won that world title, every fight after that's gonna be a hard fight. So I said, let's not take that step just yet until we're ready for it.
Tell the fans out there a little bit about yourself. I would imagine some fans who are going to be tuning in the pay-per-view may not be all that familiar with you. Tell us a little bit about your amateur career, growing up and whatnot.
My amateur career, I started. I've been in the gym since I was 4 years old. My first amateur fight is when I was 10 years old, and I beat my first national champion when I was 7, and that was some a talent that my father saw in me. Because like he says, he goes, if I saw you didn't have the talent, I would have pushed you to go to school or something, do something else, which is true, because boxing is definitely a hard sport. I
Absolutely.
tell a lot of people, I don't recommend it for the young ones unless they want to get serious about it later on in life. Maybe for a hobby or something, but as far as turning pro, not unless you're actually serious, because it's a sport that takes its toll on you for sure.
What's it like? You mentioned your father. You guys are reaching the pinnacle of the sport together. What's that mean that like you said you started this at 4 years old? You're 23 now. You've been working close to 20 years for this together,
Yeah.
and you've reached this mountaintop together. What did you what are your thoughts on that?
It's great. I have my uncle Israel Vasquez. A lot of people get us confused sometimes as brothers, but we're uncle and nephew. But he's been in my career too as well, and he's been a great hand. My father's been a great hand, and it's just the sky's the limit for me right now.
Now this is the former world champion Israel Vasquez.
Yep, yep.
How much? Obviously, he's been there, done that, fought in obviously the all the wars that he's been in, and world title fights and world titles won. How much advice and how comforting is it that you have a guy who's been through that in your corner, giving you that type of advice, and he's seen and done it all.
I mean, it's great because he's been up there at the world level. He always tells me, gives me little tips and tricks inside the rings and outside the rings and stuff like that. And it's just a great, overall experience having him by my side.
The 122-pound division. It's a pretty underrated division in my opinion. Is that what you see, and what are your thoughts on it? Just a division, as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole, a lot of people, they sleep on the lower weight divisions, because the lower weight divisions, they're action packed.
Is Figueroa, you believe, the best guy in the division?
No.
And who's that? Who's that? Beside yourself.
Oh, who do we got in this division? We got Ray Vargas in there. We got Ronnie Rios. What else do we have in there?
Several other guys. Obviously, Emmanuel Navarrete just moved up. But yeah, I mean, obviously,
yeah, you got a whole lot better guys than Figueroa.
I mean, do you think Figueroa is, what's the best way to put it? Obviously,
up there in the top.
What's that?
Like up there in the top.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He got the world title for a reason, but I want to take that away from him Saturday night.
I mean, and so there's nothing, without giving too much away, there's nothing that he brings to the table that you feel will be insurmountable for you.
No, he's just a fighter that I want to make it an all-out Mexican war.
Obviously, there's 5 world title fights on this show, and your fight being one of them. Obviously, the Charlo brothers headlining each end of the pay-per-views. A lot of eyeballs, big card, 5 world title fights. Have you thought about maybe the end of the night? Yeah, the Charlo fights were good, but you think the fans are going to be saying, "But that Damien Vazquez, he was the guy tonight." Is that important to you because of all the talent that's going to be on this show?
Oh, most definitely. I want to be the fight of the night. And I want to showcase my talent to everybody.
The nickname Sugar, obviously, there's a lot put on that. Being a boxer, Robinson, everyone that's you, Leonard, Mosley, most recently. Have you thought is there maybe a little bit of an extra kind of target on your back because you're carrying that famous nickname, the famous boxing nickname? Did you feel any of that?
No, I never really thought about it like that. But hey, if people want to paint a target on me and come after me, bring it. I'm ready for you guys.
You feel obviously you feel that's a nickname that because you have that nickname, may draw a couple more eyeballs to you and whatnot.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Gotcha. You're living in Las Vegas now. I would imagine you get really good work out there in the gyms in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's a mecca of boxing. That was one of the main reasons I had moved out there in the first place. I'm originally from Colorado, but I moved to Vegas because it's a mecca of boxing.
And if you don't mind, what kind of guys have you sparring with over the years?
A lot of rough, rugged, top professional, athletes.
And that, along with 17 fights, is help prepare you for this opportunity. So, just last couple of questions. What are the fans? What do you want to say to the fans out there who know you and maybe on Saturday night will become fans of you? What do you want to tell them before we see you Saturday night live on Showtime pay-per-view?
Tune in. It's going to be one hell of a fight, and I want to make sure we're the fight of the night.
And for those people who want to follow you, haven't followed you, where do we find Damien Sugar Vazquez on social media?
Facebook, you could do Damien Sugar Vazquez, and then Instagram, you could do Sugar Vazquez. That's Sugar, and then Vazquez with the Vazquez.
Gotcha. All right, well, we thank you for a few minutes of your time. We'll be watching. We wish you best of luck, and maybe Saturday night, hopefully you'll be walking out with a big, nice, I guess the WBA, they're a black strap world title belt.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, has that picture been painted in your mind with the black belt being raised above you?
Oh, most definitely. As soon as this fight was mentioned to me, that was the first thing that shot into my mind.
And have you had those dreams at night? You with the belt over your head, and
most definitely, yeah.
There you go. One last question. I thought about fighting no fans. You thought about that? What's it be like to fight with no fans in there?
I mean, to me, it really doesn't make a difference because as soon as I step into that ring, it's me and my opponent only. So that's all that matters. Like if there is fans, as soon as I stepped in, the fans go away, and it's just me and my opponent.
There you have a terrific interview and. Charismatic kid, Damien Sugar Vazquez. We wish you best of luck. And again, we'll see you on